Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we are taking a look at the third of the 4 new heroes that were dropped today in Overwatch. If you didn't see, I already talked about Emre, I already talked about Domina, and of course last week I talked about Onron. In this video we are taking a look at Mizuki, one of the 2 new supports added to the game with the launch of this season. So, let's jump in. Very, very nice. So, Mizuki is a new support hero, as I mentioned. He has 2 different passives. He has the unique passive Remedy Aura, which heals nearby enemies, and healing scales with resource generated by dealing damage and healing. So similar to kind of how Lucio has an aura, though Lucio's obviously has the ability to amp it up. This one, depending on what you do with healing and damage, will get stronger. And he has the sub-role of Survivor. The passive with that is that using a movement ability activates passive health regeneration. So, his primary fire, which we're going to take a look at, but first, there he is, there's Mizuki. His primary fire, which we're going to take a look at here, is the Spirit Glaive. He throws a spinning blade that impacts enemies and rapidly deals damage. So, you can see it hits, does a little bit of DOT. You can crit with it. There you go. Anyone who's curious about the numbers with it, there you go. 30 base damage, 30 DOT. There you go. Next is his primary healing ability, which is the Healing Casa. You can see the numbers for it there. You throw your hat to heal an ally, bouncing to nearby allies and healing you when it returns. So, let's go over here. We got a couple hurt bots over here, so let's throw the hat. You can see it healed this one, and it healed this one, and you can see our little healing aura there on the side went up when I did that. We can heal this guy too. You can see we have 2 charges of the hat. So, we have things we can do. And you can see over time the healing aura does go down if you're not healing and doing damage. But it's not that hard to get it up to the max, which I would assume is 4 based on the numbers. So there is the primary healing ability there. His next ability is his shift ability, which is Katashiro Return. You can see it there kind of right here. With it, you leap forward, leaving behind a paper doll, and you reactivate to return and gain increased movement speed while active. You can see all the numbers for it there on the side. So, I press shift. See the doll over there. We can run away, and then press shift again, and teleport right back to where we just were. Very similar to the old school Sombra Translocator, where you threw it down, you only had a limited time before you had to go back to where it was. Similar to that, but now on a support instead of on a damage hero. The other main ability we have here is the E ability, Binding Chain, where you launch a tethering chain that hinders the first hit enemy. So this is an ability that's very good when you have airborne heroes that you want to bring to the ground, or anyone that's very mobile that you want to stop from moving, like this guy here. Stop moving. As you can see, when he was tethered, he could not move. He was stuck. There was nowhere for him to go. That is how that one works. Finally, for his abilities, we have his ultimate ability, Kekai, or Kekai? I don't know. Sanctuary. You create a sanctuary that heals allies and absorbs enemy projectiles from outside the area. So we're going to use it here. You can see they're healed. These shots coming from these bots, they're not hurting my buddies. Not one lick of damage as it eats up all the damage. Yum, yum, yum. Delicioso. How else would you want it than some nice healing and damage absorption? It's great. It's wonderful. Pretty fun for that one. Next, for the perks, we have the 2 minor perks here. We have Wellspring, where the Remedy Aura resource generation is increased by 25%. So you're going to get that passive healing up to the max level faster. And you have Exposed Soul, where hitting an enemy with Binding Chain increases your damage dealt to them by 30%. for 2 seconds. I think that is going to be a very good perk when you're dealing with heroes like Jetpack Cat, Echo, Pharah, Mercy. They're flying around. They're being a pain. You want to make sure when you capture them, you can kill them immediately. It's good when you're dealing with a dive comp, you're dealing with a Winston who's flying around, you're dealing or jumping around a D.Va that's flying around, whatever it is. That's where I think that was going to be good. But we're going to take Wellspring just for the fun of it. Doesn't really matter in the training range, but I figured I'd say it. And then we have the 2 major perks. We have Resonant Return, where the healing Casa bounces 1 additional time, and each bounce increases its healing by 10. And Quick Step, where the while Kadashira Return is active, allies within the aura gain 25% increased movement speed. So it's a good way to kind of help your team initiate and then fall back before you hit the line of fire too much. I like this hat one. I think it seems pretty good. It's kind of hard to use here. You can't really get more bounces, but you do get the second bounce anyway. So there's some good in it there. This is a very interesting kit. I think it's going to be a fun one to see in practice. What I'm more kind of interested in is seeing kind of how the hat usage is really kind of elevated. You know, how are people going to use it? Is it going to work, you know, really well? Is it going to be kind of difficult to do? Oh yeah, also these can bounce. I didn't talk about that. You can bounce his primary fire. Those also bounce. This whole kit kind of bounces. He likes to bounce things off walls and whatnot. He's kind of a tricky guy. That's kind of what he likes to do. But it's a very interesting hero. I think his kit is very interesting. I haven't gotten the chance to try him out in game yet, so I could play him in game and absolutely despise him. But that is something that he has the means to kind of work out. But I'm curious, honestly, to see kind of how he plays with the hat in game, how it feels. I do think his ultimate's very interesting, being able to just like eat stuff. So I'm excited to get into this one. So why don't we just jump in and talk about the games that I played and give you my thoughts on the hero after that. All right, now let us take a look at Mizuki gameplay and talk about the hero that is Mizuki. Very great chat to open this one up, by the way. I forgot to turn off match chat. So Mizuki was the hero, I will say, fully when I was recording the actual like hero abilities. He was the hero that I was the most like, I don't really know how I feel about this. I thought like the abilities were cool. I liked the hat and whatnot, but I was kind of concerned about how he would play in game. I thought he would be kind of I really like him. I really, really, really like the way he plays. You know, I talked about Domina and said she was my favorite tank that's been added since Junker Queen. I really like Mizuki. I don't think I would say definitely more than Wuyong I like Mizuki. Not as much as Juno. Juno is my favorite support they've added since launch of Overwatch 2 / now back to just regular Overwatch. Since the Overwatch 2 era began. Juno's my favorite. Mizuki might be my second favorite. You know, like Ilari's fun. But I feel like Mizuki has more utility. I think the way that the way you can kind of use the shift, I'm forgetting the name of the ability, but the way you can use that to kind of fake people out, because you can set it up in a spot just to give you a movement boost, right? If someone's trying to dive you, you can use the shift to move faster, just away from them, right? So it buys you some space, it buys you that. Or as you can see kind of in this moment, I use it to get away, they start chasing me, I go back. Or you can use it and they might stay back thinking you're going to come back, and then you don't. You know, there's a lot of different ways you can use it to escape, and there's ways you can use it to kind of trick people or just to focus in different ways, which I do really, really like. So I think his kit is very fun and very interesting. And I really like the way that he plays. He feels very unique and very different. And I'm really glad they added a hero who has a pretty strong kind of crowd control ability when they just added a hero like Jetpack Cat who can fly totally, you know, uninhibited at all times and is very strong at that. The idea of having a hero that, you know, can anchor someone down, that can, you know, stop someone from trying to escape, you know, there's a lot of utility that adds. And I think it's a really good ability. And I think there are a lot of different ways to use his perks. You can use the perk that gives the increased damage to the, attached target. That can be a really good way to use it. I didn't use that perk usually. I prefer having, the healing passive. I think that's the minor perk. The other one, or even if it's the major perk, I like having the triple hat. I think that combo is very, very good, and I just like the heroes and the way they work together. So I think of the 5 heroes that were added, Mizuki is either my second or third favorite. Domina is my number 1. I do like Emre and Onron. It's hard for me to kind of say which of those I like better, which is why I do think maybe I would put Mizuki above them, because I can say pretty definitively that I like Mizuki, and I really like his playstyle. I like what he does. I have an issue when I play support. I'm kind of a passive support player. I don't love, depends on the hero, but I'm not someone who likes to go in when I'm playing support and play super aggro unless it's Brig, where you kind of, or Lucio, where it's really easy to play aggro. So I do think that one of the things you have to really balance with Mizuki is building up your healing resource, which is part of why I really like the perk to give you that extra healing resource, because I find it way easier to keep the team healed, and I find it a lot easier to actually get the healing value you need when you have that as an option. So that's kind of why I like that. And the hat heals extra when you do the triple bounce hat, whatever it is. So it is what it is. But I do actually really think he is maybe the most interesting hero that was added in this bunch, that I am the most surprised by. I thought I would not like him as much as I did. And he is the one that I think going into the reveal of the heroes, I was like, yeah, he's the one that I care about the least. He just seems kind of whatever. But I'm pleasantly surprised by the way he plays, and his mechanics and his abilities are really, really fun. So yeah, I think this is a very, very good hero, a very successful hero on this front. And so I'd love to hear from you, your thoughts on Mizuki as well. Do you agree with me? Do you think Mizuki's good? Do you feel like Mizuki's maybe not great? Whatever your thought is, I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video and want more like it in the future, of course, consider liking and subscribing. But that is going to be all for this one. Thank you all once again for watching. I hope you're all staying safe and staying healthy. And until next time, bye-bye.